needs is the
So for 2017, we were looking again at an annual report, and I thought we'd do a quick breakdown of a lot of the different projects that are being run here at SAW. So right there at the top in the middle is CHOP, which is the project that GlobeMed tries to fund every year. So CHOP is a community health outreach program where we provide training to attendees in the region about lots of different healthcare related issues by attendees. Next is the gender-based violence prevention training workshop, also seeking for direct intervention with the higher rates of gender-based violence and domestic violence in migrant populations. In 2016, they had 556 women attend and 312 men attend. They also have individual intervention programs to make sure that people who are experiencing these issues can have a next step and a safe place to stay. So that takes us to the shelters and safe houses at the bottom right there. They operate three main ones: Green Hope, which is for people experiencing domestic violence; the Healthcare House, which is to house people with HIV or AIDS; and the Children's Crisis Center, which is for children that have been orphaned or abandoned. At the bottom left, you have the income generation projects, where women that are living in the shelters and safe houses are taught vocational skills and can make products which SAW sells and which we also often sell, often at the benefit dinner or sometimes at chapter, to raise money for the needs of the shelters and for SAW in general. And then finally, the Migrant Learning Center. This is specialized in providing educational opportunities for migrant children and also older migrants to make sure that their parents have a place to leave their kids when they need to work, and also that they have an inroad into the educational system and can start working towards larger opportunities once they're able to leave SAW. And then also there's a list of other programs operating there: Mobile Medical Team, as Maria mentioned, is now defunct; Family Talk, the GED program, Law School, and the Kitchen Garden. SAW is huge. There's a lot going on. They're very vital to the region. And then finally, for the 2018 GROW projects, I'd focus on the Collective Autoethnography project. This was a really interesting idea that was brought up by Mridula, one of the GROW interns from that year. The idea was to develop an understanding of how SAW executes its mission by utilizing the collective autoethnography model to study how our individual experiences connect to the greater social and political context in Mysot, Thailand. Essentially, the GROW interns over the course of their internship met every week, and they discussed issues such as privilege, ethical considerations of performing projects while on GROW, their own personal growth during the course of the internship, and the issues with nonverbal communication and cultural differences while they were in Thailand. To see how their perspective as foreign healthcare workers was influencing their interactions with locals and how they were equipping themselves to best support SAW and do the best work that they could through the GROW internship.
All right, hey everyone. I'm going to be talking about the 2019 GROW internship. I was an intern there along with a group of very talented people. We did a lot of projects on the ground working with SAW for 6 weeks. Of them, I would like to highlight the 2 CHOP workshops that we were able to attend. And at these CHOP workshops, we had a GROW intern named Renner, who was our photographer throughout the trip. A lot of the really high quality photos that you've been seeing have come from the 2019 GROW trip, including the one at the bottom there. Also at these CHOP workshops, we interviewed people such as the peer educators for that workshops and profiled them in the annual report that SAW asked the GROW interns to make. So that was another project that we collaborated on, collecting data to pages, an example of which is seen in the bottom right. I focused my attention on the education programs at SAW, so that was a flowchart that I was working on. Other than the day work in which we were working on these projects, at night we would host classes with SAW students to practice English. And this was a project that has been done by GROW interns in the past, and we continued it with a focus specifically on English and GED exam preparation.
Hi everyone, my name's Shaylin. So I was the GROW coordinator for the 2020 GROW team last year, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about what we did. Last year, as you can imagine, it was a little bit different than the previous years that we've seen. COVID happened and we had to change from going to an in-person Grow internship to an online internship. The picture on the left was one of our very first meetings that we had pre-COVID. And on the background, you can see where we kind of our goals, some of the ideas that we had for the following year. Those obviously did change because a lot of the projects that we were going to try to implement were really vital to being in person. But Global Meta HQ and Matthew were actually two very vital resources in helping us make sure that we stayed on our feet. We utilized ATL and we decided to kind of mirror something that the 2019 Grow internship had done in helping the students with English conversations. So the picture on the right, you can see we would meet virtually every week with a group of students at the SAW school, and we would just kind of help them with their English. ATL would provide them with topics and we would kind of draw up a lesson plan of sorts and give them like a presentation that they should be giving, and then they would give the presentation and we would give them feedback. And that was most of what we did last year. We unfortunately weren't able to do an annual report because we didn't have the data, but this year we're going to be replicating both I think the 2019 and the 2020 annual reports.
All right. So that's just a brief history of Grow. While you're at it, take some time to reflect on how the Grow internship has grown over the past 8 years. But now we'll be breaking out to breakout rooms and talking about our projects for the 2021 Grow team.